Perfect. So it should be recording now. So I'm just going to get started here in a moment. One second, I'm just going to share my screen. Actually, you can see my screen still, right? We're good on that.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So you will notice that I have my Creative Commons licensing listed on the screen, which means you can feel free to share or adapt this material. However, you must give credit and provide a link to the license and indicate if changes were made, and material must not be used for commercial purposes. For accessibility options, I have turned on the closed captioning, so you should be able to turn it off or on your end. Let me know if you're having any issues with it or if you can't see it. If you have any other accessibility needs, please let me know. I'll also do my best to try and describe what I'm showing on the screen as well. I want to encourage a safe space for learning or any discussions. We may come from different walks of life or have differences of opinions, but there's always a kind way to have these discussions so that everyone feels included and welcome. We're all here for one goal, and that is to learn. So with that, hello everyone. Thank you again for joining my presentation today on Kahoot, and I know it's a very lovely sunny day. So my name is Stephanie Haddon, and my pronouns are she and her. I'm a workplace instructor at WorkSafe BC. I work in our Learning and Development Services department. I live in Ladner, BC with my husband, and we have a 2-year-old Australian Shepherd named Comet, and he keeps us very busy. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about the two of you before we get started, if that's okay.
Sure. Do you mind if I go first, Daniel?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay, awesome. So, yeah, my name is Sonia, and I work with the Vancouver Community College, and I'm fairly new. I mean, it's been about 2 years since I worked there, and I'm teaching healthcare assistants at the moment. So care aides in a clinical setting. So I haven't worked formally in a classroom besides a couple of labs, but the goal is to transition into that within this year or maybe even next year. That's basically it. I mean, I could go on forever, but I'll stop because I know we're on a time limit.
Awesome. Thank you. That's exciting. Good for you.
I'm a culinary instructor at Vancouver Island University. I live in Nanaimo. Currently, I'm working up in a satellite kitchen and couch and teaching up there for the remainder of the year. So that's been a really nice change, going from a big campus out to Duncan. So it's nice change, a smaller class. And I've been teaching, going my second year now.
That's awesome. What's your favorite cuisine to cook?
Oh, I don't know. It's a tough question for, I think, any chef, but I really like all types of cuisine, really.
That's awesome. Thank you both for sharing. Continue on here. So before we get started, I would like to first acknowledge that I'm privileged today to be speaking from the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Coast Salish peoples, including the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Tsawwassen nations. I also acknowledge that you may be joining today or watching a copy of this presentation in the future from other areas of the province, and I acknowledge those lands and their caretakers as well. This will be the agenda for today's presentation. I'll first briefly discuss what Kahoot is, how to go about creating one, how it can be used in your classroom to engage, excite, educate, and evaluate your learners. We'll do a quick practice together. I'll recap at the end, and then you can let me know if you have any questions. For the group practice at the end, you will need either your phone, a tablet, or a web browser to participate. So just as a heads up for that. This is a quote by Gabe Zickerman, who is a Canadian-American author, public speaker, and businessman. He has worked as a champion of promoting game mechanics in business and education to increase user engagement. And the process is called gamification. So the quote reads, "Gamification is the process of using game thinking and game dynamics to engage audiences and solve problems," which kind of leads us into what Kahoot is all about. So have either of you participated in Kahoot, or have you created them for your classrooms yet already?
No,
You
I
haven't,
have
okay.
not. Yeah, this is my first time. Like, I don't know. I'm not very familiar with it at all.
Perfect. And then Daniel, you have a little bit, right? You said?
Yeah.
Awesome. It's got a little bit of both, which is good.
Yeah.
So Kahoot is a Norwegian game-based learning platform. It was first launched to the public back in 2013. It's now used by millions of people around the world. It has learning games, which we refer to as Kahoots, that are user-generated educational games that can be opened through internet browser or the Kahoot app if you have that. Kahoot can be used for any subject, any age group with any device, and students don't need to register for an account, which makes it fairly easy to use and for them to navigate. So on my screen now is just an image of different characters who are all participating in a Kahoot on their different devices. In a moment, I'll be demonstrating the Kahoot website and showing how to actually create one. You can play in person, you can play online virtually as well. Once you've actually created a game, the game is then displayed on a share screen. For example, a smart TV in a room, a laptop, an interactive whiteboard application. You could include players from different locations, so it's very helpful to use for virtual learning. Players, again, use their own device. Again, it could be a smartphone, laptop, tablet, desktop. Doesn't matter what they use, as long as they have a browser and good internet connection, they're able to play. There's pre-made games on the Kahoot website as well under the Discover tab. You can also create your own, which is much more personalized to the content you're teaching. Multiple choice questions seem to be the most common. However, you can also do true and false, puzzles, short answer, open-ended, and much more. It's great to have in your learning toolbox. It's beneficial to both instructors and students, and it's currently available in 17 different languages. Yourself as the instructor uses the host website, which is kahoot.com, and then the learners would be using a different website, which is kahoot.it to participate, which you'll be doing towards the end of the presentation. They can connect to the Kahoot that you're specifically playing and created by a unique PIN code that's displayed on the screen. They enter that into their web page, and then they're entered into the game. So I'll explain that in a little bit more detail now. I'm just going to be showing the Kahoot website on the screen. So you should be able to see that now. I've logged into my account. So if you haven't created an account, you can create one yourself. This is the home page here. You can either create a Kahoot game from this little green plus sign or from the create button up here. You can also explore different workshops or more information on the website itself. There's some practices you can take a look at too to make yourself more familiar. If you go to the Discover tab here, you'll see that there's different companies here that have premium collections. There's also a library, and you can also search for a certain type that you're looking for, a topic, a subject, or a language. And there's lots here you can either subscribe to, or some of them you can purchase for a low dollar amount. In the library is where you would have a history of the ones that you've created. This is the demo one that we'll be doing a little bit later. And then there's also a report that generates each time that you are finished with a Kahoot, and it can let you know information regarding how that live game went. So now I'm just going to briefly show how to create a Kahoot by using the create button up here. It brings you to this screen here. So in the plan that I'm in here, it has these ones as an example. So you could do, there's onboarding, there's icebreaker games, event surveys that you can utilize, or you can actually create your own personal one from scratch, which is what I'll do right now. You can put your question up top here. You can enter in a media picture to make it more engaging and exciting, and then you would put your answers here. And there's also different themes on the right-hand side that you can utilize. Some of them would be free in the package or the plan that you have, or some of them are more premium ones that are only available with certain plans. So I'll just keep this really simple and just put a math question in here. So what is 2 plus 2? And then you would put your answers in here. And then you would select which answer is correct. So 2 plus 2. So I'm going to just put 4 here. And if I wanted to make it a little bit more exciting, I could add a photo. So I could just search up a stock image, for example. So I'll just type in math and use one with numbers. You can also add your own audio or videos or upload images yourself as well. So it's very customizable. So I'll just select this one here. This is a quiz format, so it's multiple choice. Like I mentioned, you could do true and false, type an answer, puzzle, a poll, open-ended. There's a bunch of different options here. You can also change the time limit for how long you want to give learners. So if it's ones that questions that involve a bit more critical thinking, then you may want to give them more time to actually answer that one. You can give a point status for each one. If there's multiple different answers, you can also select that or how you want the image to be revealed as well. You can save this, or you can add additional questions as well. So say, for example, if it's for a module review, you could add all the questions for the module review there, and that would all be in one Kahoot together. So this is just a very brief example of how to create one. You can go into a lot more in-depth areas of this. This is just more of a basic kind of overview here. So with that, I'm going to move on now to the rest of my presentation, and then we'll come back here when we do our group practice afterwards. So now we'll quickly talk about how the 4 E's apply to Kahoot. So the first one is engage. So most people and most teachers can recognize that it's very difficult to keep students' motivation, engagement, and concentration up, especially in a lecture format. And lack of motivation can result in reduction of learning outcomes and negative atmosphere in the classroom. And it's very challenging, especially in higher education with adults in large classrooms where their interaction may be a little bit less. So the reason that Kahoot is so effective is that it focuses on improving learning by boosting engagement, participation, motivation through competition, game-based learning experiences, because who doesn't like a little competition? Studies reported that classes using Kahoot, especially those that use it often, saw an increase in attendance, student participation, engagement, motivation, as well as there was a lot more interaction between the students and teachers themselves. For myself personally, all the courses that I teach at WorkSafe are online right now. So every day I'm working up an uphill mountain to try and keep engagement up in my class. So tips that I kind of looked at for keeping engagement up when you're actually using Kahoot would be mixing up the variations of types of questions like short answer, true and false, using the Discover library to see if there's anything that might align with your course that's already been created. Give learners extra time to really think about certain questions rather than them just answering it for the speed. Make your Kahoots visually appealing, add those images, add audio, be original and unique with what you're trying to create. And people can also use nicknames as well, which keeps the competition light and fun, and also helps with people that may have a little bit of anxiety when it comes to creating or being involved in a Kahoot. For excitement, so it kind of ties in a little bit to the engagement piece as well. For the different capabilities that are available, games can be quick and short and easy to help keep excitement engagement levels up using creative designs, like I mentioned, in music. You saw with the demo that there's lots of different options, and it's a very colorful and vibrant media tool. It also really helps keep excitement and curiosity in a topic up when students may be having a little bit of difficulty with a certain topic, or it could be a topic that's typically more dry and less motivating. It would be a good idea to bring Kahoot in at those moments to try and mix things up and bring excitement levels up. Typically, prior to kind of doing a deeper dive into this, I do my module reviews each morning for my courses with just a standard PowerPoint slide deck. But for my next class that's coming up in June, I'm going to try and mix things up and have Kahoots instead, especially because I do these module reviews in the morning. So I believe it would help kind of get people awake and get them more excited for the day first thing in the morning. Learners can also create their own Kahoots, so they can also be involved in their own learning and help them with the learning concepts as well. So the next one is educate. So when it comes to education, if we remember Bloom's taxonomy, which is create, evaluate, analyze, apply, understand, and remember, I believe that Kahoot embodies this in the remembering, understanding, applying areas of the human cognition. Brain research shows that we forget around 70% of what we just learned 24 hours ago, and the most traditional way of dealing with this is repetition. So Kahoot brings a fun approach to learning, and in the end has a better retention outcome. And then Adrani focuses on the special needs of adult learners. So Knowles identified the 6 assumptions about adult learning. So if we remember that, it would be the need to know, self-concept, prior experience, readiness to learn, learning orientation, and motivation to learn. So basically the need to know. So with Kahoot, teachers can use different slides, videos, polls, and surveys, and really just go beyond the typical multiple choice quiz experience and move toward a more modern learning experience for adults and just provide them with more motivation to learn, access to prior experiences they may have, and give them what they need to know in real time. An article on Science Direct showed that multiple studies where Kahoot had significant positive effects on learning performance for outcomes for adults. And our last E is going to be evaluate. So there's a lot of research out there that brings a positive light to the strong argument that Kahoot as an evaluation tool is very successful. You can gauge your learners fairly easily and quickly. It can be used when you're first introducing a subject to see how much they know about a certain topic that you'll be discussing. You can use it as a module review, like I mentioned, or get learners ready for a quiz or use it for an actual quiz itself. Also from Science Direct, I pulled up a couple studies as well that I thought were interesting. One of them was an experiment with 96 students at a university in the USA, where Kahoot was used over 7 weeks, and found the group that actually used Kahoot did significantly better on the final exam. Their grade was more at the 80 percentile. With the group that didn't use Kahoot for their reviews, their grades were about 56%. So a pretty big difference there. The other study was with 77 students in an English course at a university in Taiwan, and they compared the effect of using a paper quiz versus using Kahoot for a quiz. And the results showed that the people using the Kahoot for the quiz, they scored about 14% better than the ones actually using just a standard paper quiz. So Kahoot also has that reports tab that I showed you earlier. In that tab, if you take a look at it, it actually pulls up a report and it shows you how well the group did, if there was certain questions that a lot of people struggled on, or if certain people didn't finish as well. So that reporting area also kind of shows you in real time as well what you may need to focus on more. So I know I've been talking for a while, so I wanted to break that up. I have a quick video here that I want to now kind of show and recap and how it kind of embodies the 4 E's. If you can't hear it on your end, please let me know. Sorry, I wanted to play it actually in here. There we go. Was it not playing? Oh, sorry, 1 second. I think the other one's playing. I wanted this one to play. 1 sec.
For you to use as you want to use it. It's adaptable.
1 second. There we go. Sorry.
Kahoot is a great tool for you to use as you want to use it. It's adaptable to whatever you need. If you want to make it a game, a learning tool, team mode or individual mode, it's very user-friendly. You could type your own questions. If you don't want to type your own questions, search something up and then you can edit it, making it your own, and then it becomes your Kahoot.
I think it engages students. It keeps them on task. It's a great way for them to study. We have a lot of our students that create their own Kahoots as a review after a unit or even to study for an exam that's coming up. So it's great that it's not just a teacher-led platform, but it can be a student-led platform as well.
The more you use it and the way you use it in your classroom, it really can be like part of the lesson and a really positive thing, not really kind of like just letting kids play games, because it's more than a game, you know?
Awesome. Thank you. Sorry about the quick technical difficulty there. So I like this video because even though it was with children, you can see the excitement and engagement from both the students and the teachers and how much they value it as an educational and evaluation tool. Again, even though it was with younger students, I believe that it would be just as exciting with adults in it. So I believe it also would apply to adult learning as well. So now we're going to do a quick practice. So if you have a phone or web browser open, if you could please go to the website that's listed here, or if you just Google Kahoot on your phone, it should be one of the ones at the top. It's the kahoot.it. And then we'll just do a quick practice. You can let me know when you're ready to go, and then I'll get the one ready on the screen.
I'm ready.
Should be loading here in just a moment. So I'm going to do a classic mode here, and the pin should be loading for you to enter in on your end here. Awesome. So let's get started here. Just two quick, very brief questions. For the next question. Next one's a true or false. Perfect. So at the very end here, it does like a little podium and it shows if you've made it into the top 3 or not, and kind of your score there. So it's super interactive. Has exciting music and little icons there. So awesome. Thank you for participating in that. Going to exit out of here now. Okay, so to recap, I've now explained what a Kahoot is, how you can create a Kahoot, and the different options available. We've talked about how this media tool can be engaging, exciting, educating, and how you can use it to evaluate your learners as well. Overall, I believe this platform is just very easy to use and can have a big impact in your classroom. I've just showed a very brief glimpse into this application due to the time that we have, but I would encourage you to create an account if you don't have one already, and just do some exploring on your own just to see if it would benefit you in your classroom. And there's also different plans available as well, depending what you want for your classroom. So you'll have to look into that further yourself as well. In terms of the pros, it's again easy to use for assessment. It's engaging. It's ever evolving. There's constantly new advancements and new tools being added to it, and the types of Kahoot games that you can play. And students don't have to create their own accounts to play. In terms of the cons, tracking specifically individual progress can be a little bit more tedious if that's what you're looking for. Some ready-made quizzes may not be exactly what you're looking for either. And students may run into technical difficulties or have poor internet connection, and then it may be difficult for them to actually join in and play. So the bottom line, it's a really effortlessly fun media tool, but it works best if you have a creative execution to it. These were the references that I used to create my presentation. And that brings me to the end. Let me know if you have any questions. I think you're on mute, Daniel, if you're talking.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right. I thought that was great. I didn't realize that kids can actually create their own food, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, I like using it for a review. It's I try to do one a week with my students, so it's
that's what I'm going to try and do.
It's really engaging for them.
Yeah, my reviews currently are pretty boring, I would say. So yeah, I'm definitely going to use, because I do it I do it each morning too before I go on to the next day. So I think adding this in each morning will definitely help wake people up.
And I like tracking too the tougher questions and so
Yeah,
on.
and seeing which ones people have most difficulty with and spending more time on those topics. Yeah, I think that would be good too.
Yeah.
Anything from you, Sonia?
I think that was amazing. Yeah, I'm mind blown. I've not experienced Kahoot before, so this is new to me. I think I'd like to use it moving forward when I am working in a classroom setting. And yeah, I think you did a really good job on your presentation,
Thanks, I
especially for
appreciate it.
somebody who doesn't know anything about Kahoot. I feel like I've learned a lot, and it was very engaging. You made my Sunday. I had a lot of fun.
Oh, I appreciate it. No, that means a lot. No, my last presentation, I like went way over. So I was trying to just
Okay.
like jam pack a lot of information in a short amount of time.
Yeah, it was great.
Awesome. Well,
Thank
thank you
you.
both. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday and good luck with the rest of the program.
You as well. Take care.
Take care.
Yeah.
Bye.